Rosalinda Guille. She's a current Clif First board member. She's executive director of Community to Community in Bellingham, Washington, a women-led grassroots organization and winner of the 2014 Food Sovereignty Prize. Exactly. She's a widely recognized farm worker justice leader who promotes food justice, immigration reform, and farm worker rights.
And you asked Rosalinda Guille to speak. You're asking a farm worker to speak. You're asking a farm worker that comes out of the agricultural system in the United States of America. You're asking a Texan with a long history of being in Texas before it was even Texas, while it was still Mexico, that grew up with the stories of my father and my grandparents talking about the occupation of Texas, and having lived through learning how to be citizens of the United States when we were Mexico in Texas. And I am now in the northwesternmost corner of the United States of America in Whatcom County in Bellingham, Washington, close to Canada, because my father wanted to take us as far away from the South as he could and hopefully give us a chance. So our organization is an eco-feminist organization. I am a farm worker that now understands that we are but one small but very, very important component of a system that my brothers and sisters have described. And I am connected to their history of slavery in the agricultural industry of this country because we are the new slaves. And while I can say that as a Texan, as a Mexican American, I was part of that slavery, there was a new group of slaves making the agricultural industry very rich in this country. As an ecofeminist, understanding that I'm part of a system, I also understand that I'm part of a much larger ecological system as a farm worker. That we as farm workers, and you yourselves as humans, and every one of us are organic. We are but one species in this world. And everything that we do is organic. All of our circles of energy and actions will at some point merge and touch each other and affect each other in one way or another. As farm workers, we know we are creating life from Mother Earth for you, the eaters. And the reason it's important for me to be on the board of Food First is because Food First doesn't demand from me as a board member what I cannot give you, or give my community, or give Food First. They demand that I give of myself, of who I am, of my experiences, and the experiences of my people. And through that, Food First amplifies our voices as farm workers to those that would not hear us otherwise. Because Food First is who it is, or what it is. It is what it is, a 40-year-old organization that has existed in this country and has the integrity of the fight that was actually started by a woman, which is appropriate that it still be here and be teaching you and many others the way that it does teach. What does community mean to farm workers? Because we all talk about community. It means in many of the communities in our areas where we are working in the United States, we learn how to live in a sort of apartheid system. An economic apartheid, a social apartheid, and of course a racial apartheid, because most of the farm workers are brown, indigenous, and very, very poor. So our communities are very different for us. We are hidden, we're silent, we work. We work so hard in this country for the agricultural industry that has now become very rich and is taking that profit and that richness to other parts of the world. The average lifespan of a farm worker in the United States today is still only 49 years. While our work is life, our life does not go much longer than 49 years, because that's what it takes to keep up the production that is required by the agricultural industry so that you can have your berries, your fresh vegetables, and all the other, fresh produce in this country, the apples, the carrots, the cherries that are so popular in the current healthy diet, the smoothies, the ice cream, and everything else that we also love. And some of us died before that age. Antonio Zambrano was killed by the police in Pasco, Washington, in my own state, for throwing a rock out of his frustration of the poverty that he was living in and the disrespect and the treatment that he and his family have been receiving for many, many years in that center of agricultural industry in Washington state. Ag policy to us means that pesticides are still continue to be used, that there's such a powerful ag lobby that just me walking in Olympia, Washington or Sacramento, California, talking about the slightest little bit of regulation regarding pesticides will unleash literally a nuclear type of attack for speaking out against the use of pesticides. Ag policy to us means that the piece rate wage process is the legal, institutionalized wage theft process that almost every farm worker in this country has to use in order for him to receive a paycheck. This piece rate wage process causes such high-speed production standards to be able to be paid by the pound that is why our lifespan is 49 years of age. Piece rate wage process and pesticides, remember that. In one lifetime, I'm listening to Frances Moore Lappé, so much has happened, good and bad. I think I see Caesar standing in this room. Cesar Chavez. He knows it's not that much better. It's what he talked about in 1984 and 1989. Stop and listen, we are the canaries in the mine. The agricultural industry is unleashing chemicals in the fields of California that are going to be used all over the country, and it will come back to you, the consumer. Listen to us, the farm workers. So we talk about, Food First, which I'm very proud, and I'm asking you to support this organization because in supporting Food First, you support farm workers like myself and others to carry our voices to places where we can't get to. We believe in our organization, community to community development, that as we organize and as we live our life, that we make the road by walking. We don't know what that is going to look like, but we have to walk together, and we have to feel good and live well as we're making that road. That means that we all have to give our commitment. I mean, again, in listening to Frances Moore Lappé and all the other speakers, what I heard was their commitment to the fight, their commitment to the education of consumer. And that commitment has led farm workers and myself to take the kind of stand in a capitalist society that is frowned upon and people become frightened and corporations become very frightened. We are boycotting Driscoll berries for now. This company is an example of the exploitation of farm workers that has gone beyond our borders. This exploitation is border to border. And we have the stories and the mutilated bodies and the broken spirits of many farm workers to prove this with, but they're fighting back through this boycott. You are the consumers, you are the eaters. You can change this. You can change the agricultural industry. We must not eat the product that comes to you covered in exploitation, in suffering, because that is what's happening. And we like to say, I know Eric and I have talked about it a lot, when you're talking about food sovereignty, community to community, when we say our work is life, there must be food sovereignty, is that the road that we walk together has to lead to the table where you can sit with your family and eat your food, knowing that your dinner on your plate is free and clear of all exploitation to humans and to Mother Earth. That, brothers and sisters, is why I'm on the board of Food First, because that is the road we're walking together, and that's the road we ask you to walk with us. And to get to that plate that you know is healthy, there will be tough decisions to make. Boycott Driscoll, boycott any product that you know is causing exploitation, and I'm here to tell you that this company is causing that type of exploitation. Thank you.